5 truths and a lie about Houston. Truth number 1. There's no zoning. It's true that Houston's founding fathers, in true Texas spirit, wanted no restrictions on what a man could do with his land, so the city was laid out without zones and very few laws governing land use. In older parts of the city, it's true that land is not zoned as commercial or residential, and you may occasionally see a property being used in unexpected ways. For the most part, however, Houston's developers have self-governed by placing deed restrictions on tracts that they develop, and in modern times, the city has stepped up its game with building codes, occupancy requirements, and parking regulations that make it far less likely that Starbucks is going to replace your neighbor's house with their next cafe. Still, the lack of original zoning helped to give older neighborhoods like Montrose and the Heights that funky vibe we know and love. Truth number 2. We name our freeways. Yes, Houston has unique names for its many freeways, and I'm not talking about logical descriptors like Interstate 10 or the 45. For whatever reason, Houstonians chose to give different names to different sections of the same freeway, and there's really no rhyme or reason to how the names are chosen. For example, I-10 from downtown to Katy is called the Katy Freeway, so the other side of the same freeway toward Baytown would be called the Baytown Freeway, right? Wrong. It's the East Freeway. And I-69 south toward Sugar Land is called the Southwest Freeway. But the opposite end toward Cleveland, Texas is not called the Northeast Freeway, it's the East Tex Freeway. Don't try to make sense of it, just memorize them and move on. And we won't even talk about how the sections of the loop are named. That's an entire video. Truth number 3, it's big. Everyone's heard that Houston is big, and that's not just talk. At 665 square miles, the city of Houston covers more land than any other city in the country, and that doesn't even account for the extended metro area. The 610 Loop, which circles the in-town neighborhoods, including downtown, the Heights, Montrose, River Oaks, West University, and Braeswood, is 38 miles long. A little farther out, Beltway 8 circles for 88 miles. You'd be driving for an hour and 45 minutes if there were no traffic. Finally, the soon-to-be-complete Grand Parkway measures a whopping 180 miles. If you straighten that out, it would go past Austin. Once finished, it will provide a 3-hour tour around the circumference of the city. Truth number 4, you need a car. Given its size, it would be very hard to live in Houston without a car. While there are certainly neighborhoods that are reasonably walkable, and with some planning you could live most of your daily life in the general vicinity, getting from one section of the city to another without a car would be quite challenging. Yes, there are fledgling attempts by Metro to create train service, but it's rudimentary at best and doesn't really connect one place to another. Buses are an option, but with so much distance to cover and traffic to deal with, it's a tedious, time-consuming form of transportation. As much as Houstonians love to talk the mass transit game, it's not likely to happen. For one thing, Texans abhor density. The love of big personal spaces runs deep, which is why the city sprawls so haphazardly. And because they're so proud of their space, they don't want trains running through it, or even near it for that matter. Not in my backyard. Yes, Houstonians dream of a modern city with an efficient system of transit. Just don't expect any of them to actually use it. Truth number 5, it's incredibly diverse. While the state of Texas is known for miles and miles of small-town sameness, Houston is an enormous oasis of diversity. Rankings may differ depending on data source, and many rankings define a diverse population as non-white. Houston ranks high on those lists, with only 24% of the population identifying as non-Hispanic white. Where Houston's diversity really stands out, however, is the makeup of that other 76%. Houston ranks number 1 on most lists of top U.S. cities for cultural diversity, home to the broadest representation of different ethnicities in one place. In addition to African American, Hispanic, and Native American cultures, Houston is home to an ever-growing population of immigrants from Asia, Africa, Europe, and the Pacific. This diversity has created a melting pot of cultures, cuisines, and talents that is not matched anywhere else in the U.S. So where's the lie? Houston has a reputation as an overgrown cowtown, And it's a lie. Houston is full of culture, character, and charm, and as the city grows larger and more diverse, it just gets better with age. It's one of the few U.S. cities with a full cultural complement. Houston Grand Opera, Houston Ballet, Houston Symphony, and the Alley Theater each rank among the top in their genre. Houston's theater district is number 2 only to New York based on number of seats. In addition to teams for America's favorite professional sports, Houston fields professional soccer and rugby teams. Houston's food scene has moved beyond its reputation for Tex-Mex and barbecue to garner a top 10 honor on U.S. News and World Report's list of best foodie cities. And on any given spring or fall weekend, by far our best weather of the year, you'll find hundreds of local and regional festivals celebrating just about every nationality and culture imaginable. Houston is a modern city on an international scale, but maybe that's one of those things you're just going to have to see to believe. If you're considering a move to Houston, I'd love to introduce you to the city and help you discover the perfect neighborhood for your next home. Log on to ggburge.com and let's get started.